Recording. Big movie time!
Big movie.
Or small movie time?
It was big at the time.
It's certainly a movie.
It is.
That's for sure.
And discussing scale is relevant.
Indeed. Hello everyone. Welcome to yet another famous Nerdmotron movie commentary plus guest.
Hello.
Today we're getting buzzed like a flying ant about 2015's MCU debut of Ant-Man, the movie Ant-Man.
Indeed.
I suppose technically he debuted in a post-credit scene probably, but whatever.
Well,
I don't think he did actually. I don't know, whatever.
Who knows?
So,
I should have researched that.
I don't care. Right, get your copies lined up. Are you ready to press play?
I was born ready.
Okay. In 3, 2, 1, play!
It had to spin up the DVD, so it's not actually... Now it is.
That's fine. DVD, it's a Blu-ray, come on.
Sorry, I'm stuck in the 90s.
Right, there's the Triskelion, there's 1989. There's man walking.
Doors open.
Doors opening, and if we're not all synced up by now, there's no hope for any of us.
Hank never seems happy.
Well, no, you wouldn't be really.
You stole my particles.
It just does look like just a little vial of jam, doesn't it?
It does.
Sort of glowing jam.
Well, they're American, so jelly.
Jelly. I want a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, and I want it 5 years ago.
I've got to say, actually, I had a PB&J for the first time about a year ago, and it's actually really good.
I guess. I mean, there's nothing about it that
peanut butter good.
really
jelly
puts me off.
good.
Well, I like this bit. I like the bit where he punches the guy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, don't talk about his wife.
I'll show you ferocity.
So this was directed by Peyton Reed.
Indeed. Sadly, not the...
Edgar Wright. Yeah, didn't get to do his because he wanted to be all different and he wanted to not have any connections or references to any other thing. And I'm like, well, okay, fair enough, but also, it's an MCU movie. You're kind of gonna have to do that, so you know.
I mean, maybe you've done a bit more research to this, but I can imagine it was more along the lines of him wanting to make this film, but having specific things that he didn't agree on, rather than just
Well, it's the usual vague sort of reason for him leaving creative differences, you know.
No, this doesn't have a lot of kind of Edgar Wrighty stuff to it.
Oh yeah, definitely.
It has a lot of the hip hop montage stuff, doesn't it?
Yes, and there's a lot of whip pans. Yeah. Edgar Wright loves a whip pan gag.
Oh, here's the credits coming up.
Here's the flicky pages. Ba 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 ba. However that generic music goes. So anyway, Peyton Reed also directed a bunch of other shit. Yes Man.
Never seen it.
Bring It On.
That's what he's thinking right now. Bring it on.
Present day. Except it's not present day.
It's 2016? Are they not like a year ahead at this point?
I think so. Yeah, because this is before Spider-Man Homecoming came along with its whole 2008 thing, and I'm like, oh no, it was like 8 years earlier, and it's like it's not that. What are you talking about?
I think
Sony, you stupid people.
But I think then Infinity War with the time jumps and stuff. Or no, it was Endgame, wasn't it, with the time jump?
Yeah.
I think now they're like in 2020.
Oh yeah, they're
it's certainly way ahead now.
Yeah, they're at least 5 years ahead of us.
Oh, we're going to get, what's his name in his van?
Yeah. What else has Peyton Reed done? Bring It On, Down with Love, The Breakup.
Does he just do rom-coms?
Pretty much, yeah.
I've never heard of any of these.
I think one of those is a dance movie.
Oh, great.
And Yes Man, well, that was the one with Jim Carrey where he has to say yes to everything.
Oh, right.
Did some TV stuff. There he is. There's Luis. I love Luis. He's the best. He did 13 episodes of the Back to the Future cartoon.
Really?
And he did a couple episodes of The Mandalorian.
Really?
Yes, but it was the Frog Lady one and the animated waxwork Mark Hamill one. So
Okay.
take that for what it's worth.
Speaking of the animated waxwork Mark Hamill, did you see that people have done like what do they call it? Face
Oh,
swapping?
their own versions of
And
it.
it's so much better.
Yeah.
Just like,
Yeah.
It's the same as
You know what else would have been better? An actual human being.
Yeah, well, that's what they did for when his next appearances. He looks a lot more real, and they use.
Yeah, but they're still.
But...
It's so bizarre because they're employing an actor and then superimposing another actor's face over that actor, but they have to get an actor that looks vaguely like they did with Tarkin. They have to get an actor that kind of looks like Mark Hamill, and then so that they can match the face up more accurately.
Yeah.
But why not just use that? If the actor already looks enough like Mark Hamill, I think most audiences are probably going to be like, okay, that's a young Luke Skywalker. They've recast him. That's fine.
I would agree, but at the same time, that's fine for people like you and I that wouldn't really care about that. But then the nerds are like, "That's not Mark Hamill."
Yeah, but they're gonna do that anyway.
Well,
This is. I mean, we'll talk about Ant-Man eventually, but here's the Star Wars rant for this episode. Anyway, I can't be bothered. I don't want to talk about Star Wars anymore. But yeah, the nerds are just going to bleat about it regardless of what you do. So that's where Star Wars has gone wrong, is pandering to those fickle idiots who will just cry about it regardless of what you do. So it's pointless. Just make movies. Just make good movies. Please.
Well, that's a challenge, isn't it?
Well, yeah, I mean, making a movie is a very difficult thing. But I mean, if you know how to do it and you have the resources to do it, just do it well. You know, just do it. Just make good movies. Just employ actual filmmakers. It's like
too much like common sense for Hollywood these days.
Yeah. I mean, they do, and every time they do, they come away with something really good.
Oh, yeah.
Like The Last Jedi, which is really good.
Is it?
Yes, it is. It's very good. It is very, very good. It's a very good movie. It's a very good Star Wars movie, which makes it a slightly above average. The casino stuff is fine. It's like 5 minutes of the whole movie. It's brief and light and breezy, and yeah, it's cheesy and dumb as fuck, but it's fucking Star Wars. Of course it's going to be. It's no worse or better than anything that was in any of the prequels. So it's fine, I don't care. And the quality of the rest of the thing is more than enough to make up for it. Anyway, Ant-Man, that's the film we're watching.
Yes.
So let's talk about the cast. We've got in the shot right now, we've got Paul Stephen Rudd. That's not Paul Rudd. That's not Paul Rudd. There he is.
On the right.
You know Paul Rudd. Everybody knows Paul Rudd.
The one who hasn't aged in 30 years.
Yeah. He was Josh in Clueless, apparently.
Okay.
He was also in Anchorman, Boo and No Thank You.
You don't like Anchorman?
I despise Anchorman with a passion.
The first one's good. The second one was a bit weird.
No, they're both just bad movies. It's that.
Okay.
It's that Will Ferrell juvenile lowest common denominator style of comedy that I just
going to say, that was the last good thing I've seen Will Ferrell in, and it's a bit of a cult film rather than it's not good.
Guess.
I enjoy it in the way that I enjoy Freddy Got Fingered.
It's got some good. Fuck off.
We'll come back to that.
Yeah, not today. We won't. What was I going to say? I don't know. It's just
Will
bad.
Ferrell lowest common denominator.
Yeah, it's just all the same jokes that all of that type of movie has, and it's just, bleh, don't like it. What else? Night at the Museum.
Is he in that?
Yeah, apparently. Walk Hard. Remember that?
Nope.
He's uncredited as John Lennon.
Obviously.
Probably the thing I know him most from before he was Ant-Man was I Love You Man with no. It's, him and Jason Segel, I think that's his name. The guy who was in one of the new Muppets movies.
Oh.
You would know him if you see him. He's like an SNL guy. I think he was in like Freaks and Geeks or something like that.
I don't know how many Muppets movies they've made, but the first one was very good.
Yeah, the first one with him in it.
Yeah.
That was the last one I ever saw. I never saw the sequel to that. Apparently, it's very good. The one he's in, the first one that he's in, is very good anyway. Am I a Muppet? Or am I a man?
Darren,
yeah. Diabolical supervillain Darren Cross.
More like massive dick Darren Cross.
Well, see, the funny thing is, he's actually he seems like an alright guy to begin with. Like, obviously, he's a billionaire wanker.
It's fine until he starts killing small animals.
Yeah, and then he just goes crazy for no reason. You know, he seems to be quite rational at this point. But then I suppose it's the whole thing with him.
Particles turn a bit loopy because he doesn't have the proper technology.
But it happens like just immediately. Like Hank Pym is using them for years and years, and I suppose he knows what he's doing with them and can kind of protect himself. And Darren Cross is just kind of going for it. But anyway. It's just he's quite a good villain, I think, because he seems like just a genuinely nice person, but you can kind of tell that it's just a front for being a psychopath underneath.
Yeah, it's going to be at least 3 times bigger.
And he does genuinely want to work with Hank Pym. It's just that he wants to work with Hank Pym to make super weapons.
Yeah.
I bet you didn't know this, but don't look at my notes.
Well, you pointed. You pointed.
Yeah.
Sorry, carry on.
I mean, you could look at them if you like. It doesn't really matter. He was in an episode of some Tim and Eric thing.
Really?
I can't remember what, but it was a Tim and Eric thing, and he was in it.
Does it not say on your notes?
No, because I didn't note that down.
Best Tim and Eric thing, $1 billion movie.
I guess because
it's so good.
It's just kind of all of their gags just condensed into one. Like it's so long. It's really long. That movie. It's like nearly 3 hours long. That movie or something.
Yeah, but it does have Chef Goldblum in it.
True. And Frogurt Man or whatever his name is.
Yes.
Frogurt Man, stand down. It's a very silly movie. You know what else is a very silly movie and a very stupid movie that Paul Rudd was also in? Sausage Party.
It is a stupid movie, but it is painfully entertaining when you're.
I knew you would fucking like that.
I mean, it's for what it is.
Yeah, for what it is, which is a steaming pile of crap. It's so bad.
It's a little bit.
It's a weird premise, which okay, that's fine. I can dig a weird premise, like Toy Story but food, right? Okay, but it's just so not funny. Again, it's more of that sort of Will Ferrell style humour. I'm really laying into Will Ferrell today. I don't know what's gotten into me.
Being all Ferrelled out.
The Yellow Jacket.
Yeah, I don't know why they don't show it big first.
Because that's not...
This is it, and then we'll shrink it and show you how small it goes. Like, rather than have to zoom in with a massive magnifying
because
lens.
That's impressive in itself. Well, and also, I don't think he knows how to make it work properly yet. So.
Well, no, you can do solid objects. You just can't do
organic
matter.
Yeah.
Because he's obviously already made the shrinky suit.
Yeah.
It does make me wonder how that's his version 1, though. Like, you'd think it would be more like built in a cave with a bunch of scraps style, rather than...
Yeah, but look at me. He's incredibly rich and has a...
Well, yeah, fair play.
Has a factory and all that, you know?
I love the idea that he, like, hired some CGI team to develop this just as, like, a promotional thing, and they're like, what the hell am I making here?
Yeah. I don't know, it kind of looks like he made it himself, to be honest.
Well, yeah, it's probably done in-house, isn't it?
Yeah. Yes, that's what you want. An army of microscopic, superpowered psychopaths. Yeah, don't be cute, Frank.
Crude. Is that what you said, crude?
Probably. Is there a difference? I don't know. And also, Paul Rudd also in that Ghostbusters movie that nobody cares about.
What's the movie that he always pulls whenever he goes on interviews? He says, "Oh, here's the clip from my new movie," and he pulls some like 80s thing he was in, like Mac and Me or some shit like that.
I don't know.
It's an ongoing thing wherever he goes on these like American chat shows. They're like, "Oh yeah, now let's see the clip from your movie," and he's like, "Oh yeah, I brought a clip in," and it's the same clip that he's been using for the past like 4 years.
That's quite funny.
Yeah.
I like Paul Rudd. I
Yeah.
hope he isn't an asshole. I hope he's actually as nice as he seems to be.
Yeah.
Because he does seem very nice. I saw a little clip of an interview with Michael Douglas for the new movie, Quantumania, where he was talking about, you know, how they did that whole jazz ants thing, where they're like ants, and they're like ants. You know, him and Paul Rudd and Michael Douglas doing the ants thing. You know.
No, I'm completely lost.
What?
Am I missing something here? What film's that?
It's not a film. It was like a promo thing that they were doing for Ant-Man, where they're just and like anyway, he kind of explains it in the interview how that came about, and it was just that they were at the end of like a 14-hour day, and like doing crappy interviews and stuff. They just decided just to have a silly fun time, and I was like, yeah, that's cool. It's nice. I like it when you hear about actors getting along with each other.
I just want to point out, how much of a bunch of dicks are these people to not invite the father to his own daughter's birthday party? Like,
well, I mean, there is a legal restraining order kind of thing in place. Yeah, he's legally not allowed to be there at this moment. That's why everybody's like, please go away, because this is a crime that's happening right now.
Really?
Yes.
Huh.
Yes. Yes.
He's so ugly, I love him.
Stupid kid.
So creepy.
Oh yeah, and also he's not been paying his child support, so they'd be like, fuck off, you deadbeat.
Oh, it's her from everything.
Yeah, well, we'll get to that in a minute. Well, could get to it right now, in fact.
Michael.
It's Judy Greer is her name.
I just know her as Kitty from Arrested Development.
Yeah, she's one of those annoying people that's had like a long and successful career that makes her IMDb page like 10 miles long.
But she's never... I mean, I can't think of a single thing where she's been like the main character. She's always a secondary character, and she's always really good.
Yeah. Yeah, she was in like loads of TV stuff. The only like significant movie appearances that I could find was Jurassic World.
Oh yeah, she was barely in that as well.
Yeah, she was. Again, I think she was the mum in that.
Characters.
I think that's kind of the role she has, is like the.
See, I'm just reading
the mum.
Like, I don't think he is like legally restricted from being there. I think he's just not been invited.
Oh.
And she's like, yeah, we'll sort out visitation once you start paying child support and all that sort of thing. She's just being a dick and not letting her daughter see her dad.
Yeah.
Which, no matter what he's done, like the daughter clearly loves his dad. Her dad.
Yeah.
It's a bit of a dick move.
Yeah, you're right. You are right.
That'd be such an annoying horn.
I don't think it is. Does it make that tune?
I don't know, the volume's down, but I feel like it does. I feel
like it's something like that.
Has
anyway.
everybody seen An Ugly Van and he presses it and it plays that note, doesn't it?
Or... she was also in War for the Planet of the Apes.
Oh, I've still not seen all those movies.
They're pretty good, actually. Even the first one with James Franco in it.
I think I
just not bad.
The DVDs of the original 5 or whatever, and I think I just prefer the campiness of them.
Yeah, they're all right, I guess. I mean, I've only ever really seen the first one, and even then, like years. Oh no, he's been turned into jelly.
So yeah, this is when he's immediately irredeemable, isn't he?
Yeah. So it's like up until this,
he becomes completely irredeemable.
Up until this point, he's just been actually. I was going to say up until this point he's been a kind of nice person, but he's not really, because he wants to make weapons
I'd like to know how
for.
they'd explain this away as well.
Hydra.
That guy's just disappeared off the face of the earth and been flushed down a toilet. Surely they have cameras that have shown him going into that toilet and never coming out again, and Darren Cross was the only other guy that went in there. So surely he's like prime suspect number one.
Yeah, but he could just get somebody to wipe the security footage, or...
Still, the last place he was seen was going in...
Will you shut up?
Maybe mute the laptop.
No. Everybody likes Windows noises.
The one we don't want to hear is doodaloo. Like your microphone unplugging.
Anyway, might as well talk about this guy now since we're talking about him. Corey Stoll as Darren Cross. He was in the US version of House of Cards, if you remember that.
The US version?
Yeah.
I thought House of Cards was an American show.
What? No, it was a UK thing in like
Isn't House
the
of Cards the one
90s.
with Kevin Spacey?
Yes, it was.
Oh, and is that the American version?
That's the American version.
Okay. I'd never actually watched either of them. Kevin Spacey freaked me out before he even got revealed as being a weirdo, and that whole talking to the camera thing just really fucked me up, and I couldn't get past like 2 episodes.
It's
just
like everybody, like for years and years, everybody was like, "Oh, Kevin Spacey's like he's a really good actor." And then you look at the roles that he takes, and they're all just psychopaths or just really creepy, weird men doing creepy, weird shit.
The only thing I actually think,
and it's like he's not a good actor because he's just being himself. You know, he's not acting. He is a creepy, fucking weird, fucking asshole himself, and that's the only roles he knows how to do.
Did you ever see the Peter Serafinowicz sketch about him?
No.
Google it. It's very funny.
I don't know if I want to really. But I mean, imagine. Like Corey Stoll, like apart from being in Ant-Man, I think being in House of Cards is what he's most known for.
Oh, so
yeah.
This is totally Edgar Wright influence.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, this is like straight out
all
of
the swishing in the.
Yeah, this is straight out of Spaced. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I miss Spaced.
I don't, because it still exists.
No, but I mean, I miss this. Okay, yes. Yes, correct. It still exists. I just miss the style of comedy that Spaced sort of brought into the fold. Like Edgar Wright and what's his name, Simon Pegg, Jessica Stevenson. Now she's Hines, but Jessica Stevenson was at her highest when she was Jessica Stevenson as well. Sadly.
Nick, what's his name? Nick Frost.
Nick Frost, yeah.
Who was the real talent?
MVP.
You know, between Simon Pegg and him. He was clearly the one with all the talent, really.
Well,
he was. I mean,
acting-wise, but not writing-wise.
Well,
Simon Pegg
fair
and
enough. Yeah.
Jessica Stevenson wrote it all.
Yeah. Right, that's
Edgar Wright was hugely influential in the production as well.
Well, yeah, he made it, so you would hope so.
Well, yes, never mind. But without his direction, it wouldn't have been the same.
Yeah, totally. So who else we got in this fucking movie?
Who's this chap? Because isn't he...
Oh, that is... That's... Oh, God, he's got a really horrible to pronounce name. David Dastmalchian?
I'll let you say that then.
As Kurt. He's been in some cool stuff. He was in The Dark Knight.
Is he disassembling a multimeter to make stuff with?
Probably. Seems like something he would do. He's an electrical engineer, isn't he? So yeah.
True.
Yeah, he was in The Dark Knight. He was one of the, the gunmen at the. Is it the guy that Harvey Dent interrogates in the ambulance, and then Batman's like, "Don't do that.
I'm the one that does the interrogations.
If you do this, then people will think you're bad.
Like me.
And that can't happen until you've got half a face."
And then you're only half bad.
Well, no, he's all bad. It's just sometimes he doesn't do the bad thing. Anyway. Oh yeah, he's breaking into the place to get the thing.
That's a really janky looking security system. That's clearly a prop.
Well, I mean, it is revealed that this whole thing is a setup.
Yeah. Which to me just makes no fucking sense. It's so much of a convoluted plan to get him involved.
It's not really. Well, I mean, how does he find out about him in the first place, actually?
Exactly. I mean, it's just like, oh...
Actually, no, because he finds out because he is sort of famous because he did that burglary or robbery or whatever. The reason he got fired from Baskin Robbins at the start is because his boss finds out that he has a criminal record. That's why he was in prison. So Hank Pym kind of knows about him from that. I think it tells him actually, because he goes back to jail at one point. Anyway.
Good job there's some CA glue and some sellotape kicking around.
Well, that's not that unusual. It's kind of the sort of stuff you'd have kicking around in your drawers.
I hope he's going to clean up that napkin ring after. That's not going to do much good, is it? Oh, that's Kieran. Still.
Yeah, I don't think he cares too much. So yeah, we've what else was that guy in? Blade Runner 2049. One of my top 10 movies of all time because it's beautiful and fantastic.
At some point, we need to do a double feature of Blade Runner 1 and 2.
Yeah, hell yeah.
I've not seen the first one in years, and I don't think I've seen the second one all the way through.
It took me a very long time to appreciate the first one, but I think that's because there's like 4 different versions of that, and I think up until a point I'd only seen the cinematic release that's got the horrible Han Solo voice of the Harrison Ford voiceover, ruining every moment of it. Like, there's just no subtlety in the entire movie.
Oh, it's just like narrated the whole thing?
Like, because the bit where Deckard shoots the lady replicant in the back, and then he's, like, standing over the corpse being like, holy shit, I've murdered a person here. And all of that is just acting. And then you've just got this voiceover, really bored Harrison Ford voiceover being like, and then I realized that maybe I shouldn't shoot people in the back because it makes me feel bad. Fuck it. Yeah. But then there's like the final cut, I think, which is just really good because it removes all of that, and it's just a damn good movie. And 2049 is even better, in my opinion.
Is this massively unbelievable to you, this whole sequence of him managing to freeze that much that quickly? The amount of energy that would be needed to change the temperature of that solid steel door that much.
Well, he doesn't need to freeze all of it, though. That's the thing, is it?
Well, no, but
it doesn't seem that realistic. But then in a movie about shrinky men, then
that makes perfect sense. You're shrinking the space between the atoms. I mean, that's obviously it, isn't it?
Obviously, yeah, because that
motorcycle suit
that wouldn't cause nuclear fusion to occur. That would be great if it's like the first time he puts on the suit, he shrinks and then it's just San Francisco wiped off the map.
He ignited the atmosphere, destroyed the Earth.
Yeah. What else?
They were worried when they set off the first nuclear bomb that they were going to ignite the atmosphere, and they still did it.
Yeah.
Lunacy.
Which will probably be explored in Christopher Nolan's next movie.
What's that movie?
Oppenheimer.
Oh. Yeah.
About that very thing.
Indeed.
So what else has this Kurt fella been in?
They're about to murder a little...
I don't like it. Yeah, he was in the Flash CW show, apparently, which is fine.
Oh, yeah, who did he play in that?
I have no idea. Look it up if you like. But I don't care. Probably some minor villain.
Probably.
Probably some kind of evil speedster, because that was the only type of villain they could think to have in that show.
Guess who the new evil speedster is in this series, in the final season?
I heard they're bringing Zoom back.
Oh no, it's not Zoom as far as I know. At the end of the most recent episode, spoilers, they show the evil Batman Flash. It's
really?
Yeah,
Thomas Wayne.
I don't know if it's going to be him yet officially. They've not shown his face.
Oh.
But at the end of the last episode, the evil Batman Flash zips up to the top of the building, stops doing his weird shimmery thing, so you can see his sort of Batman lightning logo.
Wait, sorry,
And then just speaks out loud to the city. I'm going to destroy you now, and this place is mine. It's like, who's listening to you? Who are you talking to? You're just standing on a rooftop, like stating your plan, and nobody's listening.
It's like that bit in Shazam where
yes, I can't hear you. Fucking miles away.
Yes,
oh, he's got some jam.
I can have my.
It's very runny.
This helmet looks like it's full of jam.
And are we in agreement that this is the best helmet, and they ruin it in his next appearance?
Yeah.
I think this is the best costume, and it's such a shame that it doesn't come back at all.
I kind of have a thing for like the first iteration of a costume.
Yeah.
Like the first Spider-Man costume, like the MCU Spider-Man costume. You know, the hoodie with the goggles. Like really cool. Really cool.
Really, really cool.
Yeah. So that Kurt fella with the name that I'm not going to try and pronounce again, Suicide Squad.
Oh yeah, is he the Spotty Man?
He is the Spotty Man, Polka Dot Man.
That's the one. I like this character. Good. I was pretty upset when he got squashed by a starfish.
Yeah, I mean, it was very obvious that he was going to die. Well, it was very. I mean, it's a James Gunn movie. He was definitely the one that was going to die out of that. It was
quite a bit jankier than I remember.
It does have a bit of a strange sort of
sheen.
Yeah, like a sort of glow to stuff that doesn't seem quite right.
Not sure about the shaky cam.
I think that's probably done to kind of mask the jank of the CG. But anyway. And he was also in Dune Part 1, which is amazing. And anyone who disagrees is a fool and shall be
discussing that at some point.
Well, yeah.
I just don't get it. I think it just makes no fucking sense to me. And I think maybe I need to read the books or know something about it, because watching the film,
I hadn't read the books explained. When I basically knew nothing about it other than there was giant worms and some sort of space telepathy magic, and I absolutely fucking love it because it's incredible. It looks beautiful. It sounds beautiful. It is a beautiful thing.
If you want a film with giant worms, you watch Tremors.
Yeah. Slightly different thing.
Yeah, it's much better. Kevin Bacon.
I
never quite understand this sequence as well. He keeps falling through the floorboards, and he falls through his house into like a club, and then through the club into somebody's living room.
I think this is somebody's. This is somebody's.
Is this just a house party?
Yeah, they're just having a house party.
That makes a bit more sense, but it does feel a bit like they're in a club. I mean, who has house parties with this much lighting and like...
People who take it seriously, you know?
I suppose.
Anyway, who else is in this? We have Michael Douglas, of course, as Hank Pym of Pym Industries.
Yes.
He's been in stuff like Romancing the Stone and The Duel of the Nile, if you are familiar with them.
I'm not, actually.
I like them. I really liked those movies back in the day. They're sort of Indiana Jones, but not Indiana Jones. Kind of Indiana Jones ripoffs, but they're pretty good. Probably very problematic, in the same way as Temple of Doom is a bit problematic.
I haven't seen it in a long time.
Well, you know the thing with Temple of Doom. It's just a lot of white guys playing.
Oh right, okay. In brownface.
In brownface, and you know it's this whole like these native people do all these weird rituals and eat monkey brains and all that. It's just a bit like No.
Talking about that, you just reminded me of one of my childhood favourite films, which was absolutely destroyed when I found out that one of the main characters is not in fact Indian, but is in fact from Detroit and was wearing brownface.
Oh, Short Circuit.
Short Circuit.
Yeah.
Oh my
no.
God. I love those films, but watching them now, you just realise quite how bad it was. Why did they cast him as an Indian man?
Because it was the fucking 80s.
But why? Why not just find an Indian man or cast him as an American?
Because he had to be good at maths.
And no Americans are good at
maths. Yeah. Oh God.
And there's no Indian actors in the world.
No. Apparently not. Not at that time, anyway. Yeah. Weird choice. He was also in Wall Street, which I've not seen and don't care about because it's about awful people being awful. Although I think they do actually get their comeuppance at the end of that, as opposed to Wolf of Wall Street, with the Leonardo DiCaprio, Jonah Hill thing.
I've not seen that.
About some evil money manipulating fucker from the past. I hate Wolf of Wall Street because it's about awful people doing awful things and just getting away with it. And there's no comeuppance for him at the end. And it's just...
Why did you let him steal that suit in the first place? Sorry, I'm just focusing into this.
Because he was testing him.
But it's such a convoluted process to get him
involved.
Yeah, because
you
could have just texted him and said, "Look, I want you to be a superhero for me. I want to give you a second chance because of your super skills."
He needed a first-hand demonstration of his burglary skills.
Fair enough.
And also, he's old and rich. So what the hell else is he going to do other than employ ex-cons to do his dirty work for him?
It's very sort of Men in Black, that sequence, isn't it?
It is a bit,
yeah. He comes in, disconnects the camera and...
Yeah. What else has he been in? Falling Down, another of my top 10 movies of all time. Falling Down, very good.
Is it as good as Paddington 2?
Nothing's as good as Paddington 2. What a stupid question. I was very proud of my little joke the other day. Because if anyone doesn't know, I found this account on Twitter that basically just tweets out questions about films, like what's your favourite this type of film, or what's your favourite, diner scene in a movie. And I have taken to quote retweeting every tweet that I find of theirs and just say Paddington 2. Because it is the best movie by any measure.
But then
then there was one the other day that was like, what's your favourite soundtrack in a movie or something like that? And I tweeted Paddington 2.
Very good.
So good. That's comedy, baby. That's fucking showbiz. What else? Michael Douglas. Been in Las Vegas, which I think is sort of like Space Cowboys, but instead of old men going into space, it's old men going to Vegas and getting wasted.
Sounds like Vegas.
Pretty much. I've been to Vegas.
I like to call it Last Wages.
Yeah, it's expensive. I didn't gamble, though. I managed to avoid that. I just don't really give a shit about gambling, really.
I have to say, if I went to Vegas,
no appeal.
I probably wouldn't gamble, but I would definitely take a handful of quarters and go and use some slot machines. I suppose technically I would gamble, but I want to just...
I did kind of want to do that, but I was like, I was only there for a couple of days, and I didn't want to spend my entire time just doing that. But then at the same time, there isn't really that much else to do, apart from wander around and be dazzled by bright lights constantly. It's an intense place. It is exhausting just being there, Because we went in July as well, so like the height of summer, in the middle of the fucking Nevada desert. It was warm during the day, and it was very warm during the night, but during the night it was also very bright and loud, and it was...
oppressive, I should imagine.
Yeah, but also quite easy to kind of... Because because it would be kind of loud and bright and noisy and everything out on the streets, but then you could duck into like a casino for like 5 minutes.
And it would be even louder and noisier.
And it would be at least be air conditioned.
Oh, I suppose.
And you could.
That's why they did it in Vegas. It's like, we'll put it in the most oppressive place in the world, and then build buildings that you want to be in.
Well, that's the thing. That's the thing about Vegas for me, is it's just the sheer audacity of it. It was just like, we are going to build a city that is purely for the purposes of gambling. And we're gonna build it in the most hostile environment that we can possibly find. We're gonna have to pipe water in from thousands of miles away to make this place even remotely habitable. It's just very strange.
Floor's clear.
The floor is clear. For the moment. Well, she's not going to want to have those bullet ants.
Well, she's got a little earpiece
going about her.
Doesn't she know how to control them?
No, actually, no, I don't think she does. Or does she?
Oh, and there they are.
Okay.
Continuity.
I mean, unless they all scurried out
in
from under the bed.
Of a second since the pan.
Between shots, which is not impossible. Anyway, that's Evangeline Lilly, who's leaving that room right now.
Famous for being in Lost more than anything else, I think.
You'll know. Yes, Hope.
Kate.
It's Hope Van Dyne in this, anyway. She wasn't Hope Van Dyne in Lost.
No, she was Kate.
She was Kate.
What is he? Kate Austen or something? But I feel like her surname was the same as somebody else that I went to school with, and there was somebody with the same name as her in Lost, but I don't know if it was Kate Austen.
You might be right, actually. I can't remember. Real Steel.
Oh, with Wolverine.
With Hugh Jackman. Doesn't even sound like a real name. I was actually quite impressed that you remember that. I thought I was the only person that remembered that movie.
Well, I don't think I ever watched it. But
right.
He was in it. I just remember the trailer being ridiculously cheesy. And the concept of him boxing.
It's good. We were talking about Short Circuit earlier. It's basically Short Circuit, but with boxing.
I think what you're really talking about there is Chappie.
Chappie's shit.
That's basically Short Circuit.
It's shit though. It's just not very good.
Also, I've recently discovered that
although that did have Hugh Jackman in it as well, didn't it?
Yeah, but also it had in the people from The Advert, who I actually quite like musically. But I found out recently that they're fucking mental and have been like basically adopted somebody and like abused them for years, and they're actually fucking psychos. So
great,
yeah,
lovely.
I'm not a big fan of The Advert anymore.
Yikes. Real Steel, yeah. 2 of the Hobbit movies. We're doing those at some point, by the way.
Well, I was going to say, I'd be interested in watching somebody who's just recently edited all 3 into one.
Oh, yeah.
That might be more fun.
No, we're doing it.
Oh, really?
I don't know. Maybe I'll do them on my own. I've made a promise because I did the Lord of the Rings ones, and I said I would do the Hobbit ones as well. So I've got to do them at some point.
Done the Lord of the Rings
ones, and I would rather, I think, have company to do them because they're a fucking slog.
Yeah,
we're not doing the fucking extended editions though. Absolutely not. I refuse. I did the extended editions for the Lord of the Rings, and I love those movies, but that's a lot of movie. That's like nearly 10 hours of movie altogether.
Controversial. But I'm not really a fan of any of the Lord of the Rings stuff. I'll watch them, and they have their moments, but it's too much. Like, I like my fantasy like Star Trek, not like orcs and monsters.
Well, I mean, Star Trek was a bit orcs and monsters. It was just a bit slightly differently presented.
Fantasy rather than...
Yeah.
I don't know, and it's a bit of a stereotype sort of thing, but the whole... Just... Why give the ring to Frodo? Just...
Because he's pure of heart.
Bullshit. You've got magic. You can teleport and do all kinds of crazy shit in that universe. There's better ways to get the ring to Mordor than give it to a small hobbit.
Yeah, no.
Yes.
I mean, yes, but no.
I mean, you could probably just strap it to an arrow and have one of those crazy arrow people just launch it straight in.
Crazy arrow people? You mean the elves?
Yeah.
Wow.
Surely, I mean, yeah, I don't know.
What? How do you refer to the dwarves as little beard people?
The little hairy fucks.
Little hairy fuck. Goodness me. Bloody hell.
Oh my god, there are people. If there's anybody listening to this who's a fan of Lord of the Rings, they're probably like trying to punch the air right now, trying to kill me.
I mean, yeah. I'm
sorry, not sorry.
I'm expending a lot of effort to restrain myself right now. No, I get it. Like it is a lot, as you say, and it is very, very fantasy. And if you can't dig that, then fair enough. But
also,
I just like
remember, like the Hobbit seemed like a downgrade in a lot of ways in terms of special effects, cinematography, and all that sort of thing.
Oh,
and so
boy, was it?
It just feels like because the Peter Jackson films were definitively great Lord of the Rings films. Like, I'm not a huge fan of the stories, but watching them, they are really well made, well produced, visually stunning. Like, apart from what I understand, it's basically like line for line, as close as they could get to the books within reason.
Yeah.
And then The Hobbit, they managed to stretch one short book into 3 by spamming it full of all kinds of shit.
And the thing is, with the Lord of the Rings movies,
and it would have been quite fun.
Yeah.
And maybe
well, that was the plan
from The Office.
Actually, I think the plan originally was Guillermo del Toro was going to do it, and he was going to do 2 movies, and it was going to be one that was basically just The Hobbit, and then another that was like a sequel to The Hobbit, but more of a kind of prequel to the Lord of the Rings movies. But the thing with the Hobbit movies is, with the Lord of the Rings, like Peter Jackson and his team spent like 3 years before they even started filming, like planning everything out and like doing all the set design and prop design and making all the like armor and costumes and everything. And with the Hobbit movies, he had like maybe 6 months to prepare things because like Guillermo del Toro didn't want to do it anymore, and they had to bring him in. They had to bring Peter Jackson in kind of last minute, and he just didn't have time to do.
I'll tell you, the best thing that ever
stuff,
came out of The Hobbit was the song by Leonard Nimoy.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Bilbo
Oh, yeah.
3 feet tall.
I forgot that was Leonard Nimoy.
The bravest little hobbit of them all.
Well, there you go. There's your Star Trek crossover thing. There's your entry point. So yeah, we're doing the Hobbit movies at some point.
Right.
But I'm going to put it off for as long as possible.
Yeah.
Who else in this movie? We've got Abby Ryder Forsten as the first version of Cassie Lang. I think we're up to version 3 now.
Did they recast her again?
Yeah, for the new one. Yeah.
Who was it in the second one when she's like?
So it was Abby in this one, obviously. That's the little kid version. Then I think she's in Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Call the Avengers, for Christ's sake.
Yeah.
Like, call the fucking Avengers.
No, I
hate Tony Stark, but call the Avengers.
I am fully with Hank Pym on this. You do not want to be risking getting that fucking technology into Tony Stark's hands, the guy who, at this point in the canon of the MCU, has just created Ultron. And all that shit has just happened.
But then give it a couple of movies, and then you're relying on him to save the universe and build the sort of...
Well, yeah, because you don't really have much choice at that point. But at this stage, you'd be like, no, Tony Stark is a fucking war criminal and a psychopath. And the other Avengers aren't really that much better. Captain America's okay, but he's still... You could go either way, really. Unless you actually know him, I don't see any reason why you would trust him. So no, I am fully with Hank Pym on this. No, you invent something like that, you only give it access to it to the most trusted people, like an ex-con, for example.
I love how in this movie as well, he's like, oh no, we can't give you the suit to do it because I like my daughter, but I don't give a shit about you, so you can just put this on and risk your life to save it. I don't care. And he's so blatant about it, and like nobody calls him out on it. Like, what? You dick.
Well, yeah, I think nobody calls him out on it because they kind of understand it. Like Scott understands it, that he is expendable. And he could walk away from this at any point, you know. He doesn't have to do any of it.
Yeah, fair play. Well, he does if he wants to get with Hope, doesn't he?
I don't think that's his primary motivation, oddly enough. I think his primary motivation is getting to see his daughter again.
This is true.
For which he needs money, which he can't get, because he can't get a job, because he's an ex-con.
I know it's not completely what it is, but that hearing aid always just looked way too outdated, even for like advanced amp controlling tech. You'd think he'd just have like a more compact earpiece, or at least one that doesn't look like an NHS.
It does look like it's kind of been bodged together from just what he has available. Which, it has been, because that's kind of what he's doing. Oh, he does have an impressive setup here. I suppose he's been working on it for many years, and some of the computers do look pretty 70s, you know.
Yeah, a lot of CRTs.
Yeah, like that one, not behind Scott there, but like that one behind him there.
It does look like some sort of 70s.
It looks like
terminal for a nuclear facility or something.
It looks like Mother from Alien, you know.
Yeah, it really does actually. The lights.
So yeah, Abby Ryder Forreston, first version of Cassie Lang. She's had more faces than the villain from Return to Oz. See, I zigged and then I zagged.
You could have said more faces than the Doctor.
Yeah, but I didn't. I zagged. You did. Yeah. Never seen Return to Oz.
I have not.
It's freaky as fuck. And not the main villain. One of the villains in it is an evil witch who has an array of interchangeable heads.
As you do.
Yeah, it's a really, really good movie, but very, very freaky. Very weird. But I love it. But yeah, she's not been in much else other than that, but she's literally a child, so get off her case about it. Right.
I'll get right off that.
We've also got Bob Cannavale. Is that his name? Bobby Cannavale as Paxton.
I'm going to say Cannavale.
Snakes on a Plane?
Yes. You haven't seen that in a while, but it is a good movie.
I haven't seen it at all.
No?
No. I don't know why I would. Well,
because it's
for fun, I suppose.
I mean, it's the film that by definition Sam Jackson was like, yeah, I'll do it, but only if you actually call it Snakes on a Plane.
Yeah.
He wanted to change it, and he's like, no, I want it to be Snakes on a fucking plane.
He was in Paul Blart Mallfart.
Right. Let's pretend those films don't exist.
He was in Chef.
I've not seen that.
No, I've seen that. I really want to watch that.
Is that the one with...
It's Jon Favreau.
Yeah, Jon Favreau. I've seen a clip from it where he makes the most tasty-looking toasty in the world.
Yeah, there's a lot. I think there's a lot of food porn in that movie. But apparently, it is. It's basically about. Obviously, it's about a chef, but it's thematically about him making Iron Man 2.
Yes, no, I heard about that, yeah.
Which is very interesting.
Maybe that's one to watch. We should watch Iron Man and then watch that.
Yeah, that's an interesting
double feature of
Chef and Iron Man 2. That's there.
Is it Iron Man 2?
Yeah, it's Iron Man. No, because he had a good time making the first one, and then had a really bad time making the second one.
He probably had a good time making the first one because he was basically founding the MCU at that point.
True. Well, I mean, they weren't even really thinking about it in those terms at that point. Yeah. They were just like, let's try and...
Shits his pants here, I love it.
Like, you would, though, wouldn't you?
That was a lot scarier a second ago.
Yeah, getting your butt kicked. But it's a montage sequence, so...
Even Rocky had a montage. Montage!
So at some point we're going to cut back to him, like, punching Evangeline Lilly in the face or something.
And you gotta fade out in a montage. Show more time has passed.
Yeah, I know.
Sorry.
Who else? There's one other name I haven't read out here. Oh yeah, T.I. as Dave. One of the sidekicks. One of the gang. One of the gang, you know. He's more of a music guy. He's not really done much movie-wise or TV-wise.
Can I call him Anthony?
Anthony.
She loves those crotch grabs.
Yep. Damn, he got ripped.
He did. I mean, isn't he like in his 50s at this point? And he still looks like 30 something.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how old he is. I mean, he's immortal because he never ages. People throwing discs in a garden. That's very Edgar Wright.
Oh, very good, yes.
Yeah.
I keep watching this and wanting to say, greetings, AC family. Are you familiar with Ants Canada? It's a terrific YouTuber who has loads of ants and stuff and has all these things, but he's so amazingly positive all the time. And it's, oh, wow, look at the fire ants. They're going amazing. They're doing this and they're doing that. Oh, wow, Ant family. Like...
I tell you what I am passingly familiar with, though. Antagony!
Oh, it is not wise to antagonize Antagony. Anti-Huna? Anybody who doesn't get that reference needs to watch Frisky Dingo.
Frisky Dingo.
And get back to
us. So good. So good.
It's absolutely splendid.
You wouldn't think I would enjoy it as much as I do, because it is that sort of obnoxious kind of sense of humour that I get bored of very quickly. But the fact that it's in like little 11-minute parcels.
There's only like 20 11-minute episodes or something. You watch the whole thing in one go.
It's like I couldn't sit through an episode of Archer, which is kind of what followed on from Frisky Dingo. But it's kind of Archer style, but really condensed, and it's like it's over in 11 minutes, and it's fine.
Yeah.
But like,
come on, we only have 11 minutes for this part of the kidnapping.
So this movie is the last entry of Phase 2 of the MCU.
Phase 5 or something now.
I know. How did that happen? How are we on Phase 5? What the hell happened to Phase 4? What even was Phase 4?
Well, I think what was, like, they blew their load on the Infinity Saga.
Yeah.
And then they haven't really... Excuse me, pardon me. They haven't really... tried to come up with anything. They haven't seeded a good new arc properly yet. Oh yeah, we've got the multiverse. Oh yeah, we've got the quantum shit. But it's all just so wishy-washy. Like
it's kind of been all over the place, and I was sort of expecting there to be
even just the post-credit
kind of something of a through line
popping up throughout for years, and it was like hinting at what was coming. And now we've just got the hint of Kang the Conqueror from Loki, and then obviously a bit of Quantumania spoilers. But
I don't think it's a spoiler that he's in that because he's on the posters and in every trailer.
Yeah. Have you seen it yet?
I have not.
No. Okay. Well, I won't do further spoilers then. Well, especially
I don't care. I don't give a shit. I mean, we know what happens in the movie because the first trailer spoiled the whole thing.
Yeah, well, actually...
I mean, the details of it and the actual fun and action of it is still to be seen, but plot-wise, you know exactly how it's going to go.
What's really crazy is, in the trailer, they have a sequence where he's fighting someone and says, oh, you can't win. And he's like, I don't need to win, we just both need to lose, right?
Yeah.
And I was waiting the whole movie for that sequence to happen, and it occurs in the last 5 minutes of the movie. So it's like they literally show a scene from the very end, and you know exactly how it's going to end. And it's like, well, you know he's not going to fail.
I'm disappointed. I'm disappointed what they've done with MODOK as well.
Do you know what they've done with MODOK?
Yeah, it's Darren Cross, basically, isn't it?
He's a massive dick.
Like, I'm glad that MODOK's in it, because I don't know that much about MODOK, but he's a silly character that I'm fond of silly characters.
He is,
but I just don't like what they've done.
I do think Ant-Man and Quantumania, they went a bit too far with the comedy, and this film they have the Edgar Wright tone of like little bits of comedy interspersed with it.
But it knows when to be serious. And I've not seen Love and Thunder, Thor 4 either, but apparently that has the same problem. Just leaning too much into the quippiness and the irreverent
but what's
humor.
Funny is that like there's a time and a place for all the quippiness. Like you look at things like Spider-Man in Infinity War, and he's like, oh, there's the wizard and all that sort of thing. Like it's all very like tongue in cheek, and it works with Spider-Man.
Yeah,
because he's meant to be quippy. But other characters aren't meant to be as quippy, but they still are, and it just feels a bit jarring.
Yeah, because that's just like, the whole style
like Thor
of it.
Love and Thunder, like Thor is way too quippy.
Yeah, they really settled into that formula. But anyway, what do you think of Phase 2 of the MCU overall?
You're going to have to remind me the start and end film. So this is the end. What was the first film?
Started with Iron Man 3.
Excellent film.
Everyone knows I'll never stop banging on about how good it is because
I like Iron Man 3 a lot.
It's very good. I'm a sucker for Shane Black movies. Of course, I did a commentary on The Nice Guys, which is his finest work ever. If you've not seen it, do so, and also listen to my commentary. But maybe not if it's your first time watching it. But whatever, do what you want. Live your own life, you know. So we had Iron Man 3, then we had Thor 2, which is fine.
Yes.
I remember us sitting in the cinema watching that and having a good time watching it.
It's alright.
Winter Soldier, or Winter Soldier, as I've written here in my notes. Winter Soldier, which is pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah, not much to. It's not fantastic.
What else is in it?
Guardians of the Galaxy, which I know is good. But
it doesn't really fit into the phases, though, really, does it? It doesn't really.
It's not so much that. It's just the first one, especially, is just every time I see it, I like it a little bit less because the formula of it becomes more and more obvious each time. Where it's like action scene, expositional dialogue, joke, action scene, expositional dialogue, joke, and it's just that. And it's like it's really colourful and bright and Star Wars-esque, and the performances are really good in it and everything. It's just once I've kind of noticed that formula, I just can't really enjoy it that much. And the second one is kind of the same but longer, but at least it has a bit of heart to it. But that's not Phase 2, so we don't care. Then after Guardians of the Galaxy, we have Age of Ultron, or more like the long weekend of Ultron.
Yeah. The best thing that came from Age of Ultron was the Red Letter Media edit, where they took the audio clips of Robert California from The Office and dubbed them over Ultron, because it's the same guy.
Oh, right, like, yeah.
They never really surpassed the Oreo, did they? That's definitely something we should watch.
That's good. I like
good
that.
To see. Oh, he loves his Anthony, doesn't he? Feeding him water droplets over.
Yeah.
I'm watching the film again and you're reading the notes. Sorry.
How dare you watch this movie that we're watching?
How very dare I?
Yeah, Age of Ultron is totally fine. I mean, it is just a retread of the first movie. It's basically exactly the same plot-wise as the first Avengers movie. But who cares? It's fine. Yeah. And then Ant-Man, which we're watching right now, allegedly. And I think
suit with a flannel lining. I forgot that line.
And I think this is a very good movie. What do you think this is a very good movie?
I enjoy it. Yeah, I mean it's a good movie. I mean, well, I don't know if it's a good movie, but I know that I find it entertaining.
I think it's a good movie.
Like that's the thing. Like it works. It doesn't seem to have any major problems when I'm watching it, and I enjoy it. I think it's just like we're saying as the MCU goes on and it gets a bit more unnecessarily quippy. They take the wrong parts that work from other ones, and
I think this movie is very emblematic of Phase 2 as a whole, which the movies are pretty good, but just all right.
I forgot the Falcon was in
this.
Yeah. Oh, this is a funny sequence.
He's pretty good. We also technically in Phase 2 got the last one-shots. You remember those?
Yeah.
We got the Agent Carter one.
Which, the series was great. That was
it was alright.
For the series.
No, not really. It kind of was, but also it doesn't quite match up, like sort of timeline-wise.
Did they ever get his wings to look real?
I don't know.
I don't think they did.
I was trying to remember from Falcon and the Winter Soldier, but my brain refuses to recall any of that movie. Or show, even. I mean, it should have been a movie. They could have just made it into a movie and it would have been fine.
Well, yeah. Well, he's going to be the new Captain America, isn't he? in the new
Yes.
Movie. But wasn't Bucky the next Captain America in the comics?
In the comics, yeah. But it kind of makes sense that you wouldn't let him be Captain America because...
He's cured. He's not evil anymore.
Yeah, but you're not going to risk that, are you? And also, the public, one of the main things about Captain America is it's like the public persona of it. You know, you need somebody kind of wholesome and upstanding, like a Steve Rogers type, to be like the public face. Because at this point, Captain America is a brand, essentially.
And are we saying that the Falcon is wholesome?
Well, at least in comparison to Bucky Barnes. Because, what do the public know of Bucky Barnes? He used to be the Winter Soldier, and as far as they know, like, okay, he went off to Wakanda and apparently got cured. But
he's got a cool robot arm.
He does have a cool robot arm. But that's the thing, you don't really need a robot arm and a shield.
Yeah, but you have the shield in the other arm, and then you punch with the robot one.
I suppose. I guess you don't really need a shield if you've got
I suppose it's
mechanical
it's made
wings.
of vibranium now anyway, isn't it? So it's essentially got the shield in arm form.
Yeah. And the other one shot was All Hail the King.
Oh, yeah.
With, my name's Trevor. I don't know why I went West Country for that. That's not the accent.
Trevor Slattery is very sort of drunken, sort of
Trevor Slattery.
Oh, yeah.
They should bring back the one-shots. I like those.
Yeah. They were good. This is quite a fun sequence, actually, just watching him like ripping his bits apart.
Ooh,
indeed, yeah.
Yeah, I like it in Civil War, because he brings Ant-Man into the fight for some reason.
Because he knows he can kick his ass, so he knows he's better.
Yeah, but that's the thing. He's like
he's completely untrained, and
they refer back to this. They refer back to this, and he's like, "That was a yeah." Yeah, it's like that was a good audition, but it's never going to happen again. It could quite easily happen again.
I mean, he does it to Iron Man as well.
In like 5 minutes after that, yeah. Like, all he has to do is shrink down while Sam Wilson is asleep and just crawl inside his ear and, you know.
Are we going to discuss now the way that Ant-Man could have killed Thanos?
No, because that's, well, we could do it, I suppose, if you want to, but it's been pretty much proven that wouldn't work.
Why not? Because there's a sequence in this very film where he's underground and he expands and all the Earth moves around him.
Yes,
so when he expands, everything around him gets squidged out of the way. Like
there was, I'm sure Kyle Hill did a thing about this, and they sort of calculated that the density of like Thanos's colon wouldn't allow for the expansion. Like the force of the expansion wouldn't be enough to overcome that. So
maybe it would he'd expand and then it'd just be like a Scott Lang shaped imprint inside Thanos. Is that what you're saying?
Well, I think Scott Lang would try and expand and would just sort of be liquefied by that process, and then Thanos would just shit out this Ant-Man goo.
Well, why then doesn't he lob one of the little shrinky discs at Thanos, shrink Thanos down, and because he's not wearing a suit, you just implode and die?
Yeah. Could have done that. I guess.
A terrible jacket, Darren. I know you think you look cool, but you do not suit that.
Yeah, he's not. What is he going for here?
He's kind
of going
1940s greaser look.
Yeah, / cat burglar. Very strange. Also, he really likes grabbing people like that, and I don't like it. You know, he's always clapping a hand on somebody's shoulder and just being overly friendly in that sort of psychotic way.
He is just super creepy. I suppose that's what you want in a villain.
Yeah, but you kind of also want a villain that you can relate to in some way. And I don't find Darren Cross particularly relatable in any way.
No.
Nor do I really understand his motivations. His motivations are, I want to be as good as Hank Pym. Well, you already are. You can make. You've achieved the same level of technological understanding pretty much as Hank Pym has. So just stop. What are you doing? Stop. Stop, you silly man.
Yeah, it's really just... Is it almost just like the software that he hasn't developed? Like, I don't understand like what the difference is between...
I suppose he's not developed like the protection from the adverse effects. But then I don't think Hank Pym is...
adverse effects because Hank Pym hasn't told him because he's never admitted it's real.
I think at
that's
this...
part of the problem, isn't it?
I think at this point he's been told about it. Anyway, he's not the best villain. And it's another one of these MCU things where the villain is just... Well, it's not just an MCU thing, it's a superhero movie thing in general, comic book movie thing in general, where the villain is just the same as the protagonist, you know? They just have the same powers. Like in Incredible Hulk, he's fighting just a version of the Incredible Hulk that's evil.
Well, I mean,
in Iron Man, he's fighting evil Iron Man.
From Iron Man, isn't it? Yeah. Are there any other films that don't do that? I feel like
Thor, the first Thor.
Yeah.
He's not fighting another Thor.
True.
And I suppose in Captain America, he's kind of fighting another Captain America.
In the first one?
Yeah.
Well, Super Soldier versus
Super Soldier versus Super Soldier,
and
yeah.
In the second one, it's kind of Super Soldier versus Evil Super Soldier.
Yes. Although there's a bit more going on because the villains in the Winter Soldier are more... those people kind of working in the background. It's a more sort of thrillery.
The third Captain America is...
Civil War.
Civil War. So that's actually Captain America versus Iron Man, isn't it? Essentially.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's everybody against everybody else. It's just... silly movie.
So I've just seen it.
Silly movie. Oh yeah, this is the bit where they bring in the
so is that guy on the right the musical one? You're saying him?
Him, yeah, that's T.I. or Ty.
He doesn't get many scenes in this, really, does he?
Well, he's not a particularly good actor. I think that's probably what it is. I mean, he's fine. He reads his lines. You know,
he can read. And just, I mean,
well, I don't know. Maybe he
was.
Just
doesn't get much of appearance.
Maybe he had to learn his lines phonetically. Yeah.
Harsh.
Well, you were saying he can read. You're making an assumption there. Maybe he can't read. Maybe none of them can read. Maybe nobody involved in the making of this movie can read.
Is for, so they can feed lines.
Yeah. Whoop. Gasps.
Tell me, are the buttons... does he have to push both of them to shrink?
I think one's to shrink... Well, I think he's only got one at the moment.
No, he's got one on each hand, I think. Because in the thing at the beginning, he's like looking at them and he pushes one, and I think he has to push both of them to shrink. But then
no, I think it's one to shrink, and then you press that same one again to reverse the shrinking, and then I think he's got the other one that's intended for growth, but I think it's broken, or like Hank hasn't finished developing that part of it yet.
Wait, is it the second film when he's chatting to Morpheus? And they're chatting.
Oh yeah, Lawrence.
I got
Lawrence
to be like 12 feet tall once.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
I did not like that movie, but I did like that little interaction. Yeah. That's the thing. There's a lot of nice little character interactions in that movie, but overall, the movie itself was very bad.
Not a fan of that bob on Evangeline Lilly.
It's very Karen-esque, isn't it?
Well, yeah, it's just a bit sort of old-fashioned. It doesn't really fit her character. I feel like she'd be a bit more modern. I like her new pixie do in the new one.
Oh, that's even more Karen. That's like super Karen.
No.
I mean, that's the Karen haircut.
No, the Karen haircut's the weird swoosh.
Oh, wait, no, yeah, the Karen haircut is what Halle Berry has in the Catwoman movie at one point.
I've actually never seen that movie, and I don't really think I ever should.
No, you shouldn't, because it's terrible. It's not even really worth watching it for a joke. It's
not even a funny bad film. It's just a bad film.
Yeah, it's just bad. Like, yeah, it's just awful. They made some choices, but they were all the wrong choices.
I'm just excited.
I am going to go out on a limb here and say that Luis is actually the best character in the MCU.
Really?
Yeah, hands down, the best character.
It's a shame the actor turned out to be a bit of a weirdo. And
Oh, did he?
Yeah, there's so many people in all these films that you think, oh god, actually, problematic people just crop up in all these movies.
I've been having a bit of a bad run of that recently because
look it up. I might be mistaken.
I was like, because like the trailer for the new Shazam movie came out, and it was like, oh yeah, remember Shazam? The first Shazam movie was actually pretty good. Mm-hmm. I really like that movie. And then like 5 minutes later, what's his face fucking tweets that thing that he tweeted, and it was like, oh great.
Who tweeted what?
Zachary Levi. You know
what did he tweet?
Somebody tweeted that some form of COVID vaccine was the worst thing to happen to the world or something like that. And he quote retweeted it saying, like, hard agree or something like that. I'm just like, dude, come on.
Oh, I'm just looking up the, what's his name? Michael Pena.
Oh, yeah.
Not only is he a Scientologist.
Oh, fucking hell.
I feel like there was something else, though, and I haven't found the other bit.
I mean, I don't know if I really want to know.
Maybe just Scientology is bad enough.
I mean, that is bad enough. I mean, fucking hell. Right, anyway, yeah. I don't care about, well, I do care. It's useful to know these things. A raft of ants. I think that's actually the collective noun for ants, isn't it?
What?
A raft of ants.
Possibly.
I like the ones that all kind of link together. Like these fellas that are making this rope of ants.
Wow, AC family! Look at the way they're working together. You gotta check that out, or it just sounds like, well, I do sound loopy anyway, but.
Yes. Yeah.
So they put microfiber steel mesh across all the vents, but they didn't sort the pipes.
Yeah, plumbing is important.
It is.
It's easy to overlook from a security point of view.
Isn't it more realistic that they come up through the drains than out the actual water pipes?
I don't know. I mean, it's all connected, isn't it?
Yeah, but there wouldn't be that much air in a water pipe, would there? You wouldn't be like floating on the surface. It would just be like full of water. Whereas a sewage pipe, you'd think you could actually sort of float backwards along it.
I mean, they're ants, so I don't think it really matters. And also, Scott's in his suit, so I presume it's kind of got its own oxygen supply, because presumably you can't really breathe normal oxygen when you're shrunk, because
there was
atoms.
A very fun episode of Star Trek Deep Space Nine called One Little Ship, where they go into...
One Little Ship?
One Little Ship with a P. One little ship, and
one little shit with a P.
They're in a runabout, and the runabout is falling into some sort of gravity well or some weird anomaly thing. And they say if we don't come out at the same angle and speed that we go in, we'll remain shrunken forever. And for whatever reason, they remain shrunken, and then they have to like go on board the ship, and they're like little people like running around half the size of a comm badge inside things, like swapping around ice linear chips and shit. But what I was going to say was they have to beam in shrunken oxygen, because they're like, yeah, the oxygen molecules are too big, you physically can't breathe them.
Yeah. You would think you would just be able to like grab an oxygen molecule and just kind of suck it down.
Well, no, they're not that small.
Like Sonic breathing an air bubble when he's in an underwater level.
Yeah.
Okay, you know what time it is now?
Is it time for trivia?
It's 10 IMD trivia bits, interesting or no, let's go!
Okay, number one.
Number one. Michael Douglas celebrated his 70th birthday on set. Hold fire here. Wait until I've gotten the whole thing out, okay?
Okay.
As an homage to his on-screen character and to celebrate the milestone, The crew presented him with a birthday cake decorated in icing with ants crawling over a film reel. Now, you jumped the gun there and said not interesting.
I'm going to say not interesting.
You're saying not interesting.
It's his birthday, of course they're going to give him a cake, and he's on Ant-Man, so of course it's going to have fucking ants on it.
You're right, that's not interesting.
Hey! I got a point.
Yeah, it sounds horrible. Who wants to eat an ant cake, really? That doesn't sound nice.
No.
I mean, it sounds funny.
I'd rather a Garibaldi.
Easy for you to say.
Dead like graveyard. That was a really obscure joke there. Never mind.
Moving on. Trivia bit number 2. Fuck off, virus threat and protection. You're not even connected to the internet, so fuck off. That wasn't the trivia, by the way.
I was going to say.
In addition to getting in shape with the help of a trainer and weights, Paul Rudd worked with a gymnast. Rudd said of using a gymnast, "I knew I was going to have to do rolls and flips and things like that. I just wanted to be as convincing as possible." Interesting or not interesting?
I would say moderately interesting.
That's not a choice. It's interesting or not interesting.
I'll just say interesting because I would have thought that all the Marvel trainers would have given him all the moves and stuff that he would have needed. But if he specifically sought out that kind of training, I think that's mildly interesting. So I'll go with interesting.
It's not interesting.
I
mean,
I was doing so well on my first.
Obviously, you want to be convincing because that's kind of acting. And also, I guess nobody told them that they just
ants they're killing.
They put the flips in post, so I guess nobody told them that.
Really?
Yeah. I mean he's not physically doing any of that. I hate to break it to you.
No, they shrunk him down, didn't they? They put him on a fly.
Oh yeah, actually you're right. They did actually have to invent Pym particles for this. And also the ants weren't dying there. They were zapping all the stuff.
Yeah, and they're okay to survive those.
I like to think so.
Okay. I feel like their legs would have been scorched.
Any
kind of microcurrent.
They're wearing little rubber shoes.
Little booties, ant booties.
Yeah, little ant Crocs.
Okay.
And little ant Crocs and some asbestos socks.
I wonder if at the end of this, when the giant ant's cutting about, they give it some Crocs.
That's not the end of this. That's the end of
this. Is it the second one?
That's the second one with the drums.
Oh,
yeah.
My bad. Got a good right hook for an old man.
See, I mean, that's just... God, you're such a smarmy little asshole.
I know.
Oh, I let this old man punch me in the face just so I could laugh at how weak he is. Fuck you.
I really wish he'd knocked a tooth out or something. That would have been so funny. Like, he's like, oh shit.
Yeah. I wish he'd just killed him there and then. Just straight up.
Oh my god.
Killed him.
The terror of this technology and being in the wrong hands. Like, the idea that you can just walk an ant in with a big block of C4 and grow it up inside anything you want.
Yep.
It means you could, like, blow somebody up from inside their ear. You could, like, put little bombs in
their
brains
that's
and stuff.
they do that in the What If episode with the evil Ant-Man. I think that's how he kills Hawkeye. Because they think that Hawkeye killed Thor, but it was actually Hank Pym.
Yeah.
You know, he pinged the arrow or whatever and made it loosed. He like goes inside his ear and I don't know, lasers his brain or something. It's a good episode of that. What If that is, actually. I liked it. Anyway, trivia bit number 3. You ready?
I was waiting for that. Yeah, go ahead.
Number 3. The laser sounds fired from Yellow Jacket's suit are the same sound as the main gun on an AT-AT being fired in the Star Wars movies, as opposed to when they're being fired in other movies. Disney owns Marvel and Star Wars.
Do they?
They do.
I didn't know that.
So is that interesting or is that not interesting?
Well, depending on your perspective, I'm going to say not interesting, purely because by virtue of it being Disney and Lucasfilm and Marvel and all that sort of thing, they have the Lucasfilm audio library, which they use in fucking everything. So I'm going to say not interesting because it's. I mean, that's how they make audio in films. They reuse all the audio.
You're right. It's not interesting. I was on board with this until because I like all the little filmmaking quibbles like that, the borrowing sounds from other places and things like that. I like that sort of thing. I was on board with this up until the end. Don't fucking patronize me, IMDb.
Condescending pricks.
Yeah, more like idiotic Muppets doing badly. Am I right?
Yes. Oh, I just realised you were doing another acronym. Okay.
Yeah, well done.
Initialism, apologies. You don't say IMDb.
You don't?
I don't, no.
IMDb. Get on the IMDb.
What have you sold, though? You don't have the working technology.
Yeah, but the people he's selling it to don't know that. It works enough.
Yeah, why is are his Darren particles yellow because they're not the same as Pym particles, then?
Yeah. His are banana flavour.
Okay.
Well, actually, no. He's made marmalade, whereas Hank Pym made jam.
Well, no, there's no little bits in it, so if they're America, it'd be jelly.
I don't care. It's jam.
No, in America, jam is jam, and jelly is jelly, and jelly doesn't have bits in it, and jam does.
Oh, right. Oh, okay. Oh, that's interesting.
So if you get... well, there we are.
That is interesting. Ding! Jam trivia.
Yes. We're all about the preserves. I wonder, though, if that means that you can get marmalade jelly if it doesn't have bits. Or is that just orange jelly?
I think that's just orange jelly.
Does marmalade have to have pith?
Pith and wit.
Oof.
Right. Trivia number 4. Edgar Wright wanted the film to be completely standalone. I think we mentioned this earlier, actually. With no references to the other films in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. The plan did not match the studio plan for the MCU. This, among other factors... among other factors is doing a lot of legwork there, I think. This, among other factors, led to Wright leaving. Is that interesting, or is that not interesting?
Not interesting.
You're wrong, actually. That is interesting. Ding! Nice try. Nice try, mate. Really nice try, honestly. I mean, Edgar Wright, not you. Guess in there. But I mean, that was a nice try, but you failed. So, anyway. It would have been cool.
Is he trying to shoot his head off through a bulletproof helmet?
You don't know it's bulletproof.
I think we can assume it's bulletproof.
I don't think it's bulletproof.
Why wouldn't it be bulletproof?
Why would it be bulletproof?
Because he's a superhero and he doesn't want to get shot in the head. Hank Pym would not have made a non-bulletproof helmet like that.
I don't think it... I mean, I think it's probably about as bulletproof as like a bike helmet would be.
Well, how many bike helmets are made of metal?
They've got metal in them, presumably.
Well,
or, I don't know.
I don't think they often do.
I think you could probably, if you were shooting them at that close range, directly in the head, I think you're probably going to do some damage.
And to be fair,
you might have to shoot them a couple of times in the same spot.
Here's a question for you as well. If you were Hank Pym and you were making the Ant-Man suit, would you make it out of like fucking 4-inch thick steel and then shrink it, or would you just make it out of normal materials? Because I know what I'd do.
I mean, if I had access to the magic technology, I think I would just make the best thing I could possibly make using that technology.
You'd take like a chunk of titanium, like 6 feet thick, and then shrink it down, and then make it into stuff. And it would keep the density of like a super thick bit of titanium, but would be massively light somehow. That's another issue that I meant to come up earlier on in this. He falls through the floor and he jumps out of the vacuum bag and lands on the roof of the car, But just before he's done that, he launches himself on a rat trap, which somehow has enough power to launch him when he's got the mass of a normal person when he punches someone.
But does he?
Well,
I mean, sometimes he does, and sometimes he doesn't.
And then he landed on the roof of the car and just made a little dent. But I don't know. It's really inconsistent.
Well, yeah.
And I keep seeing this and thinking of Zoolander.
What is this? A center for ants?
It's going to be at least 3 times bigger than this. 2 times bigger.
So yeah, it would have been cool to see the Edgar Wright version of this.
Yes.
But we'll never know. Also, as I say, interestingly vague about the other factors. Other big inverted commas, other factors.
Yeah, for the microphone, there you are doing air quotes.
Yeah. Yeah, creative differences. It always sounds a bit euphemistic, doesn't it?
It does.
It's like, just tell us what's going on. Just give us the goss. Just tell us who you punched or who punched you.
So, now he's got a shrunken down tank which he can carry with the mass of a keyring, and now is an actual tank.
Yeah.
And is that a scaled up keyring or a scale... Or is it made?
I think it's in because there was like a clip of him from like his old days fighting times. That's a sentence. The bit earlier when Darren Cross was showing the old video of Ant-Man back in the day, and they're fighting a tank, and I think it's one of those tanks. That they're fighting. So I think it's probably like deactivated. It's probably like the cannon probably doesn't work or anything like that. It still seemed to be rotating, which was whatever. But I don't think it's like a functioning tank. I think it's just...
I also wonder how long it's been sitting there and whether the fuel would still be alright. Anthony!
That is amazing that the one ant that he managed to shoot was the right one. You know?
That's quite an emotional wingfall there.
That is. It's beautiful. Like there was no need to open fire there. What was he hoping to do?
Well, he did technically hit what he was aiming at.
Yeah, I guess. But like you see a swarm of insects coming at you, and you've got a gun, but you've also got a helicopter. You know, and you've obviously a flamethrower would work, but also you would just fly away in the helicopter, wouldn't you? I mean, he does do that, but there's absolutely no reason to. I guess he just likes shooting people, and that's fair enough. Kaboom! Kaboom!
Nice timing there.
And then. Shrinky implosion for some reason.
Because you blew up the pin particles and that's what happens. Oh yeah, you really think you can swat Ant-Man?
Yeah, you just did it right there.
I think he was...
You would do a bit of damage if you...
No, if you smacked your hand down on Ant-Man, you just get stabbed in the hand with Ant-Man.
Well, yeah,
it's like a little metal
but then
spike
either...
you'd be ramming your hand onto.
I foresee 3 possibilities there. Either you... smoosh him into the surface that he's standing on, or
suit so quickly.
You basically don't affect him at all. You like flatten him and he's basically fine, or he gets embedded in your hand.
Oh, should we be turning up the sound so we can hear the
Pichu. I don't know. No, we shouldn't. Yeah, he did. He didn't really think that through, did you, mate?
Well, he didn't think any of it through.
Well, yeah, that's kind of his thing, I guess.
Oh, and then we've got the Siri moment, haven't we?
Yeah. I want to know what happened to that helicopter, because that's a helicopter that's crashing over a populated area.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to be a problem. And nobody... No, that didn't come up in Thaddeus Ross's little spiel in Civil War, did it?
Oh, well, Thaddeus Ross was just a chump. Like, did he not realise that, there was collateral damage, but it was better that than the Earth being destroyed?
Yes, and
He's
also
a fucking numpty. Like, at what point
they also
do you realize,
just
yes, okay, we may have caused a bit of damage, but we saved the fucking
the
world
the thing
numerous
that
times over.
the thing about that gets me is that his first line in his little speech there is, "The world owes the Avengers a debt they can never repay." Like, okay, well, fine. So that's this conversation over then.
Yeah.
You know? Doesn't really matter the collateral damage.
I forgot about this moment here. That's perfect.
Yeah.
But it's at this point that you want to go up and somehow contain him or grab him or like, I don't know.
Well, he appears to be contained, and also he doesn't get a chance because fucking Paxton. I don't think that would work.
I don't think that would work.
I think the suit is probably insulated in some way.
Well, not only that. That's the other thing that I was going to say. When he scales up in Civil War, it's like getting shot at with all sorts, and they're just bouncing off him, right?
Uh-huh.
So at what point is that a bulletproof suit, and at what point is that a result of him scaling up?
A little from column A, a little from column B.
But then if that was the case, the gaps in the weaving that those taser things just obviously went into would have been even larger when he scales up. So there'd be loads of millions of holes all over him that he could get shot in. Regular 9mm would just go straight through.
Yeah, but that would be like getting shot with...
needles.
Well, not even that.
Well, head of a needle.
I think probably at that scale a bullet would just bounce off your skin.
Yeah, maybe.
Anyway, where are we up to? Tribute bit number 5. Let's go. This is actually a little bit of a cheat because this is actually technically 4 bits of trivia in one.
Just spotted him put that helmet on. It looked like he bent his ear right back. It looked quite painful.
Ooh, ow.
Yeah. Sorry, carry on.
Anyway, this is technically 4 bits of trivia in one, but anyway. Cheating slightly, but here we go. The ants were specifically designed to be less grisly and friendlier than in real life. The ants
were hairy and weird and jagged or something.
Yeah, kind of. The ants were generally influenced by Saharan silver ants. They possess longer legs, can use their front legs as arms, and possess a fur coat that... What? A fur coat that makes them look shinier and armoured. Furry ants?
That might be something to Google later.
Doesn't sound like it would be a thing. Their movements were slowed down to make them feel like noble beasts. What?
I mean, they still look pretty quick.
Noble beasts? What about moving slowly makes a thing noble?
We're going to get the random scale change in a minute, aren't we? We just see like all this really close up and then it's like...
Yes.
Whee.
No, not Henrietta. Pretty sure that was Henrietta.
Henrietta.
Oh, very good.
I tried.
Oh, ant goo.
Yeah, I mean...
Lots of ants getting killed. It's just as well they're ants.
This is the bit I like.
Yeah. It's like, no!
But that's what I don't quite get, like, how they're even hurting each other, because it's such a tiny bit of weight. Like,
well, they're not. I think that's kind of the point. Because that train just straight up collided with him and he just wasn't affected at all. It just bounced off him.
Mm. I mean,
and they were Ant-Man was throwing bits of the train at him and he was just kind of swatting them aside. It was...
I mean, why don't they just both scale up and have a proper fight?
Because that's not cool.
Fair enough. Back it up.
Back it up. Yeah, very good. Anyway, yes, where was I? The bullet ants were influenced by Ray Winston. They were made to look... Yeah, that's what this says. They were made to look heavier and their hairs were made thicker to resemble horns. You know, those horns that Ray Winston has.
Yeah, I was going to say. Fair enough.
And lastly, the crazy ants were influenced by puppies to act playful and peppy. So all in all, Interesting
There's a big ant.
or not interesting?
How did he deflect that?
With his
Actually, yeah,
abilities.
that's something I would like to know.
Wait, hang on a minute. Interesting or not interesting? Come on.
Not interesting.
Wrong, it's interesting. Ding, they're ant facts. There we go. Sorry.
They're not ant facts.
Yeah, they were.
Facts about how the movie decided to make them not look like ants.
Close enough. Ah! Yeah, that would be horrifying.
Also, the ant would die very quickly because it wouldn't be able to assimilate enough
Yes,
oxygen.
it wouldn't be able to breathe. Missed I'm looking up.
Yeah, you said there wasn't a big ant at the end of this.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Come on.
I gotta go through the atoms.
Oh, just let him go, you fucking weirdo. You could do it, Scott. See? Told you. Right, trivia bit number 6. The size shifting VFX, that stands for video effects.
Visual, isn't it?
Or video. Either, I think.
Okay. Oh, it's getting all crunchy.
Yeah, there you go. They had an example of it there. The outlines left by the body on shrinking and growing were taken from the original Ant-Man comics and was influenced by stop motion and multiple exposure shots.
That makes sense.
Interesting or not interesting?
Moderately interesting. Interesting. I'll say interesting.
It is interesting.
Hey,
Ding!
I think I've got 2 of these now.
That is actually genuinely quite interesting.
Oh, now he's going.
Oh, it's the old quantum. There's an actual atom, even though atoms don't actually look like that. But never mind.
Well, even though at this scale you wouldn't be able to see because, like,
yeah, it's all getting a bit interstellar at this point, isn't it?
No, not only that. Like when you get in the quantum realm, how do you breathe?
How does any of this work? It's magic.
Wibbly wobbly.
We're going to no prize it again, aren't we?
No prize?
I think I called it the nothing prize before.
Oh, right, yeah.
It's the no prize. Because you win no prize.
Oh, okay. This is all very...
That was very sort of... It looked like a clip from a mobile phone advert. Like a good mobile phone advert, but still.
How can you hear Cassie?
Because of love and family.
But there aren't any molecules for the sound to vibrate.
And wibbly wobbly timeness.
Quickly, grab your growy disc and shove it in your belt.
Steady on.
You want to, yeah.
In your own time, if you don't mind.
Stick the growing disc in your belt. That does seem a bit wrong, doesn't it?
He nearly dropped it.
It's convenient that it just fits so well in there.
Yeah, I mean, it was almost as if it was designed that way. Oh, so I guess he doesn't have 2 buttons then. Or maybe he does. I don't know.
I think maybe one's shrink and one's grow or something.
Yeah, I think that's what it is.
He definitely has 2 buttons, but you only ever see him use one. But which one did he just push there? Left hand or right hand?
Left hand, yeah.
Okay, so left hand must be grow then.
Well, no, because I think, like I said before, I think the grow function doesn't actually work. So I think he was just using the same button, but it was because he had the grow particles in him. I don't know. Right, where are we up to? What number was that? 6. Okay, well, it's number 7 now.
Okay.
Trivia bit number 7. On the day that they filmed the sequence of Cross shrinking a lamb, when they broke for lunch, the caterer just so happened to serve lamb chops. The cast and crew claimed it was an awkward meal.
Sounds delicious.
Sounds delicious, but does it sound interesting? Or does it sound not interesting?
Oh, God, I never know where you're going to go with these. I'm going to say not interesting, but at the same time, it is interesting, so both.
That cannot be the answer. It cannot be both.
Can't I get a ding and a...
No, you can't. It's one or the other.
We'll just say interesting then.
Correct, it is interesting. Ding! Because this implies that they actually killed a lamb on set. And that's why they were so guilty. In fact, they probably killed several because they would have had to do multiple takes.
Oh my God.
So, very suspicious, if you ask me. Right, straight on to number 8. Here we go. Trivia bit number 8. You don't seem ready. Are you ready?
I was just absorbed in the idea that he's now thinking that his wife is still alive after 30 years, which we know is clearly the case.
Awesome pajamas, though. No, sneaky kissing. That's sneaky.
Just right now, you just opened the door and us kissing. That's when it happened.
Yeah, you wouldn't do that right outside the door, would you? You would think they would go somewhere a bit more private. Anyway, trivia bit number 8. Filmed in 1.85 to 1 aspect ratio rather than the usual 2.39 to 1 for most Marvel films to resemble the short stature of the title character. Its sequel was filmed in 2.39, but it featured over an hour of footage that was opened up to 1.90 to 1, which closely matches this film's 1.85 to 1 aspect ratio when the movie played in IMAX theatres. Is that interesting or not interesting?
Not interesting.
Incorrect. That is interesting.
Why is that
Ding! Because I love some movie making techniques.
But that's not really a trivia.
I love a bit of aspect ratio talk. You know, I love it. Numbers that mean things.
Maybe we'll talk about the Zack Snyder Justice League at some point then, with talking about aspect ratios.
Yeah, could do. Yeah.
Next fact.
Moving on. Next fact. Number 9. Corey Stoll describes his character, Darren Cross, as a shadowy version of Hank Pym, or Pym, I should say. Cross is a bad guy. This is Corey Stoll, quoting Corey Stoll here. Cross is a guy who is not that dissimilar from Michael Douglas's character, Hank Pym.
Except for the murderousness.
A brilliant scientist who is not ethically pure. The great thing...
At what point is being a murderer being not ethically pure?
I think straight away.
Yeah, I think it goes beyond being not ethically pure. Though.
Yeah.
It's just like unethical.
The great thing about the whole movie, again, quoting Corey Stoll here, the great thing...
Stanley?
I don't care. Yeah. The great thing about the whole movie is that everybody is in those shades of grey.
I mean, it is in colour.
Yes, it is.
Okay, yeah.
What does that mean? Interesting, not interesting. You know how this works.
I'm going to say not interesting because I think I phased out a little bit.
You're right, it is not interesting. Really, the villain in an MCU movie is a dark reflection of one or more of the main protagonists? You don't say. You don't say. Unprecedented. Totally never heard of before.
Next fun fact.
He said yes. Yeah, well, very, very, very well timed this, because this is trivia fact number 10, and we're right near the end of the movie.
Is it about the credits?
I don't think so. Let's find out, shall we? Trivia bit number 10. In the comics, Hank Pym created Ultron.
You did.
What are you laughing at?
I'm loving your pronunciation of the correct way to say Pym.
Yeah. I mean, it's Pym. How else would you pronounce that?
I mean, Pym, I hear, but never mind.
No, it's Pym.
Okay.
Weird. In the comics, Hank Pym created Ultron. This movie is the next Marvel movie released after Avengers Age of Ultron brackets 2015? Don't cheat.
I mean, how is that in any way interesting? That's not interesting. That's just a statement.
Is that your final answer?
They're two unrelated things. Yes, in the comics, Hank Pym invented Ultron, and then Ultron was out before this.
Mhm.
Those are separate facts.
So
not interesting.
Correct.
Yeah.
Not interesting. And very, very much pointed to the reason there. They're just two barely related facts.
Yeah.
It's actually two separate bits of trivia that have been mashed into one thing.
Yeah, I think that's completely irrelevant. Oh, T.I. is Tip Harris.
Tip Harris. I knew he had a proper name.
You would hope so.
You know what I mean. What is a proper name?
I don't think I ever watched these credits before.
They're
probably just
fine.
skipped them.
There is a post-credits scene.
Is it the ant running around? Or is it?
I can't remember if there's a mid-credits scene. Well, we'll find out right now. Oh yes, it is.
Oh yeah, it's Wasp suit.
Oh yeah, I remember the post-credits scene. We don't need to stick around for the post-credits scene because it's literally just a clip from Civil War.
Oh yeah, Bucky with his armor device.
Yeah. Or on like a industrial press or
say
something.
We don't need to stick around for it, but we should keep going because that's the whole point of the commentary track. What if other people want to hear our thoughts on that?
Well, fine. Okay, I guess it's 10 minutes of stuff. I am going to have to go for a pee though.
Okay.
Because I cannot hold that back any longer.
I'll just hold the fort then, shall I?
Yeah, just don't know. Just do whatever.
What I will say is, in this and in the later one or something, I think Scott Lang's like, hey, were wings not available and blasters not available? And he's like, no, they were. But I still don't understand why, even now, after the third film, he doesn't have wings and blasters. They would come in so handy.
Because he's Ant-Man.
Yeah, ants have wings.
No, he's not flying Ant-Man. He's just
But
Ant-Man.
some ants have wings.
Yeah, but flying ants?
No.
He's not a flying ant.
No, as far as I'm aware, all the queens, when they're on their nuptial flights, they have wings, and so do the males that they breed with, so that they can actually breed.
Well, I don't know.
So, I suppose maybe he's already had kids, so maybe his wings would fall off.
Why don't you take it up with Hank Pym?
I will do that. And I'll just twiddle my thumbs.
Have a Pym time.
I'll just twiddle my thumbs and discuss the final credits sequence on my own, shall I? Okay. Well, Nerdmotron, off for a wee. Credits rolling. Lots of interesting people being credited. That was quick.
Because it's occupied.
Oh, that was quick.
Sorry, I feel I interrupted you mid-flow.
I was literally just saying lots of interesting names. I don't really have anything fun to say about credits specifically.
Oh, you're pointing out silly names, were you?
Well, no, I didn't really see any particularly silly names.
Oh.
That's an interesting way to spell Sheila with an H at the end. I've not seen that before.
Sheila.
Yeah, I'm trying to see if there are any interesting names. Somebody called Costa. Steve Irwin! A video playback engineer.
Interesting.
I didn't know he was doing that. But he was dead by this point.
Oh dear.
Poor Steve Irwin.
Poor Steve. He was quite a nice guy, most people seem to think. I don't know, because I didn't know him myself, so I can't really comment.
Woody Mechanic, that's a great name.
Woody Mechanic.
The Southeast casting assistant was Woody Mechanic.
Sounds filthy.
Roderick Nunnally.
I think, just for a bit of flavour here, I'm just going to read the back of the Blu-ray box.
Oh, go for it.
Marvel Studios introduces the newest member of the Avengers. I mean, that's a spoiler.
Yeah, well, yeah, he's not really an Avenger yet, is he?
Yeah, I mean, he is at the end.
Is he?
Well, yeah. The whole last sequence there was him being invited into the Avengers.
Yes, gotcha.
Armed with the amazing ability to shrink in scale, but increase in strength. Oh, so that's how it works. So the smaller he is, the stronger he is.
Well, I thought it was just that his strength remained the same, but because he could focus it into like a hundredth of a square inch, it was more focused.
Something like that.
Because there's something that the Wasp said something about, too hard and you'll punch a hole through someone's head, too light and it's a love tap. So it is all about like your actual own strength being focused into a microscopic fist.
Master Thief Scott Lang joins forces, I guess. It's more of a kidnapping situation, really. His new mentor, Dr. Hank Pym, to protect the secret behind his spectacular Ant-Man suit from ruthless villains.
Villains?
Villains. Yeah, well, there were some Hydra folk coming about.
In this?
Yeah.
Did I miss all that?
Well, you see a Hydra tattoo, or actually, I think a 10... No, actually, I think both. I think you see like somebody with a Hydra tattoo, and I think you see somebody with a 10 rings tattoo as well.
Oh, okay.
They're just like...
Oh, is that the one that
bidding for the thing. With humanity's fate in the balance, Pym and Lang must pull off a daring heist against insurmountable odds. Well, they're not going to succeed then.
No.
If it's insurmountable, then
it's like pulling off an impossible mission.
Yeah.
I mean, that's never happened, has it?
I mean, unless you've got an impossible mission force of some kind.
Well, that's true, yeah.
This action-packed adventure takes you to new levels of pulse-pounding excitement. Why did I read that?
Pulse-pounding?
Pulse-pounding. I mean, my pulse was pounding, but that's probably because I'm having a heart attack.
Oh, yeah,
and have been for the last 2 hours.
That seems like quite a while.
I'm just that much of a professional that I will not allow even a severe cardiac episode to get in the way of producing this prime, delicious content.
I mean, that is professionalism.
It sure is.
God, these are long credits.
They are.
We're waiting for a sequence that we know what it's going to be and isn't really that interesting.
There's a lot of people.
In fact, don't they reshoot it for the film? It's not even the same sequence.
Well, the post-credits
thing.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just lifted from
No,
Civil
I think
War.
it's actually a reshot sequence in Civil War, or they use a different take or something. It is a bit different.
Well, yeah,
I could be mistaken.
Possibly.
I could be mistaken.
I mean, I don't think all of Civil War would have been shot.
Exactly, yeah. I think it was just like they probably had a scene that they wanted to put in and then...
Or they maybe hadn't decided on the final take, I guess. But yeah, it's essentially identical.
I forgot Ant music was in this.
Ant music?
Ant music. Dun, 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 Ant music. Adam and the Ants.
Oh.
So I'm sitting here looking at you. What do I see?
I mean, it makes sense.
Through you, but hey, what are you?
Makes sense that you would have Adam and the Ants in your...
It would.
Ant-Man movie.
Adam and the Ant-Man. Captured with Alexa.
Yeah, an interesting thing. I bet you didn't know. And I didn't know until...
How much are you willing to bet that I don't know this?
The Paul Rudd and Olivia Colman are like best friends.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
I saw a little clip of...
here we go.
I saw a little clip. He was doing like a Radio 1 thing, I think. Like promotional thing for the new movie. And got like he was doing like an agony Ant-Man segment. Very, very funny. And got a little prank call from Olivia Colman.
Yeah, I feel like this is all like a different sequence. I feel like it's not exactly what's in the actual movie.
I mean, it's essentially
Is he very young there as well? Or is it just...
Who?
Captain America.
I mean, he always looks young because he's so
Except when
youthful.
He looks like Joe Biden.
Joe Biden / Clint Eastwood.
And that was Ant-Man.
That was it. That was the movie. That was the whole thing. The whole slice of pie.
So thanks for listening, everybody. Is that what we say?
I guess. I mean, yeah, thanks.
That was 2 hours of joy.
Not quite 2 hours.
Nearly 2 hours.
Yeah, nearly 2 hours.
And that was good.
Anyway, yeah, so conclusions?
That was the conclusion, yes.
Yeah, great. It's a fine movie. We're going away to do other things now.
Yes.
Goodbye.
Bye.